Get ready to improve your mindset, increase your skill set, and expand your network. Follow along as the CEO of Master Networks brings you over a decade of business networking experience. Welcome to Word of Mouth with Chaz Wilson. Summer Series featuring the Master Networks HQ staff. Today's guest is our marketing manager, Katie Kroncke.
On last week's episode, Josie talked about the importance of a marketing manager, and I often think, like, you obviously direct our team and lead the team. So what do you think it is that business owners need to be doing right now to stay focused?
I mean, it's hard to pick just one thing because here at Master Networks, we're working on so many different projects at once. But I think it all boils down to content.
Yeah.
So whether that is content for YouTube, for an email, for TikTok, for our members, it all goes back to that piece of what can we produce for those outlets.
But when you say content, tell me what you mean. Like,
I mean, so like for YouTube, obviously it's going to be videos, but within that video, so we're planning the video, we're shooting the video, editing the video, and then coming up with the thumbnail, the description, the tags, and making sure our SEO is in line with what we want it to be when we post it.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And that's just for one video.
Yes. And we didn't always do that for sure. We were like, sometimes just, hey, let's shoot a video on this.
Right.
So what's changed? Like, if you said, this is how we used to do YouTube before, because we're revealing what we're working on and how we're doing it. What did we do before? What are we doing now?
Yeah, I mean, before, like you said, it was just, we had an idea. Yeah. We would want to do it. There wasn't much, there was a little research put into it, but it wasn't like the detailed research that we're doing now. Right. Because right now with YouTube specifically, we're trying to be more intentional. So we're working with a consultant who's guiding us in the direction of where we want to grow. And so he's really sitting down with us and asking us, okay, what personas do you want to reach? And that's something that we've thought about before, but we've been very general. Okay, business owners. Yep. Well, broad. There are so many business owners in so many different types of like business types.
Yeah.
And so really honing in on like, okay, well, what about people in construction? What about like single moms in their 40s? Yeah. What about like, what other places can we put our content that it's still a wide like cast of people, but it's not so generalized where people will never find it.
Do you have to think of all of those different personas and like list them out?
Yeah, so he had us like go through just with our member base in mind. Like, okay, what types of categories are there? What is
hundreds?
The age, like what is the age ranges that like the average is? What like what type of content are you looking to produce? And so his ideas even too were like, okay, we'll send out a survey. What do they want to hear? Like we could talk all day about what we think we want,
right,
and what we think that they'll like resonate with. But at the end of the day, like just ask.
But I think the most important piece was we sought out somebody who's doing it at a high level.
Yes.
Than to just try to guess on our own, like, oh, this is what we should be making content or how we should be doing it, because we had already done that.
Well, it's funny because even after we had our first few meetings, like we sat down as a team and went through the first few videos, like, and we were like, yes, these are good ideas, like, can't wait. And then we talked with him about it, and it's like, oh, okay, never mind. Like, that's exactly what that's exactly what we were doing before.
Yeah.
And so it's like really just thinking of it with a new mindset, which is it's fun and it's interesting to learn from someone who has been successful in that world.
Yeah, we shot a few videos already with that targeted approach.
Yeah.
And it was like, I remember when you guys first pitched like one of them, I was like, this is really targeted. Like, we're missing all of these other people. And you're like, no, this is exactly why, because we're going to go strictly after this group.
Exactly.
And I think it's important. Always finding mentors who know and have, like, we always, you think about it as business owners, this is what's fascinating to me, is we always feel like we have to make it up and figure it out on our own, yet there's hundreds if not thousands who've already done it.
Right, because it's like, it sounds great to like reinvent the wheel and like do something like totally new and on your own, but it's like if no one is winning what you're doing or what you're trying to do, like you might as well just do what you were doing in a different way.
Right. So what should a business owner be doing right now? So, I mean, like, we're working on YouTube. You guys also just got me hooked on well, I shouldn't say hooked on, but you.
We got you intrigued with TikTok.
It's an addiction.
I fought it for a long time. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. I think we are working on growing a TikTok platform just because it is the now. Like, everyone is on it, and it's still so new in a sense to where there's a lot of room to, like, make your profile explode depending on the type of content that you post on there.
And there's so many different platforms that have come and gone, right?
Right.
Like, I mean, I remember the live broadcast one called Meerkat. There's so many people like owning Meerkat. And Clubhouse came out and was like, and now like no one talks about it.
It was like hot for like 2 months.
Yeah.
And then
no one really talks about it.
Yeah, they're all just fleeting fads in the social media sphere.
Yeah, so but I don't think TikTok is. TikTok seems to have a little more sticking power.
I think so, and I think because like the younger generations are so passionate about TikTok and like growing TikTok in general. I don't think it's going to go anywhere for a little while until the next new thing comes out and like tries to go against it, and then we'll see what happens. But I think right now, like, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's interesting as a business owner though. The challenge becomes, how much time am I spending there, right? Versus doing what I need to be doing to sell. Oh, but that's, I'm getting more customers, but are you really getting more customers? So it has to be this balance of prospecting focused, but enhance it with marketing.
And I think it helps obviously when you have a team. Right. So you're like, as a business owner, if you're trying to do it all alone, it's going to be a little bit harder. Yeah. Because for us here, we have a team who can support like testing out all of these different platforms.
Oh, right.
And so like it makes the content creation easier because we know we can handle it. So as a business owner, it's like if you're just starting out, maybe you pick one and you try to like create content for one of them. Maybe you cross promote and you post it on multiple platforms, but you're really honing in on that one. Like, okay, I'm going to get good on TikTok and see what happens.
I think the balance is, as a business owner, is, am I the producer of the content or am I the consumer?
Right.
And understanding as a business owner, you're a producer. And if you're in consumer mode, you're wasting time. But if you're producing content that is driving people to know you, learn about you, connect with you, then that's fine.
Right. And I think it's hard too for business owners because like you want to promote your business, but a lot of the times people that are consumers want to know who you are. And they want to connect with you personally. And so it's like finding that balance of what you want to share online versus like what you want to share business wise, and like kind of wrapping it all up. Yeah, it is a balance.
I had somebody recently said, "Hey, I watched your podcast, this podcast." I was like, "Oh, awesome. What'd you like about it?" We were talking about it. And she's like, "But so that's what you do? That's how you make money? You do a podcast?" I mean, she literally had no idea about anything else that I do. I'm like, podcast is such a small piece of what we do. But it makes me realize that we don't talk about master networks sometimes enough in certain places because we just want to be like, oh, well, let's not talk about business here. Yeah. Right. It's definitely a balance. I think some spots we probably talk about it more than we should, and others we need to talk about it more.
Right.
Do you find that different platforms are better for that personal aspect versus the business aspect?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think Instagram and TikTok are where people, especially like with stories and then posting TikToks, people like it. You don't really want to sell through those. You just want to talk about yourself, talk about like maybe it's a business story, but it's not super dry. It still needs to be fun and engaging. But I still feel like Facebook is very like a blend because you can post your events, like you can make event pages. You're networking with people, and that is more business related than just strictly Instagram and TikTok.
And it has to be entertaining and fun because otherwise if your stuff is just constantly like information only.
Right. No one's going to want to come back and watch because you need to do something eye-catching, funny, like something that they're like, oh yeah, I like this person.
They're crazy. I mean, I've watched a few videos. I'm like, that guy or that lady is crazy. But I'm like captivated. I can't leave their craziness.
Right. Well, and all of like having content for all of these platforms link everything else that we do to like together, like promoting workshops, talking about different events, like what we're doing here at HQ. Yeah. Beyond just like the fun stuff or like the day-to-day things that we do for our members.
I think the key for most people watching today, the simplest part is like just document.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's where you start. Just document. You know, this is what I'm doing today. This. Well, that's boring. No, it's not. Trust me. People are like engaged in what you're doing every single day, even if it's not business, work, whatever. Like they want to get to know you. To your point, you guys are on me about this all the time.
Yes.
He's heard it.
This is. I hear you. I did listen.
Yes, I noticed.
My last Instagram stories, right? Like.
Oh my gosh, I know. I died a little bit when I saw that one, but it's fine.
Which one?
The one with Jacqueline.
Oh.
I was like, oh my gosh.
She was like, please don't. Right. So you knew.
But I mean,
now you know my struggle.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it was funny, but when I first saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, as the manager of this marketing team, I'm like, oh no, what are people going to think
like
about this?
Slow-mo.
Well, actually,
no.
I probably had 8 interactions from that one.
Yeah. People were like, oh my gosh,
laughing.
that's so funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if you saw it, but
I haven't.
It was a post of us out, and I was scanning. We were actually crossed over here on the boardwalk on our date night, and we were just sitting there chatting, and I'm like, all right, I need to document. So I pull it out and just scan, and I put date night in the thing, and my wife's sitting over here, and as I get to her, she sees it coming, and she puts her middle finger up on her face like this. I was like, stop.
That's amazing. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, and then somebody commented like that finger was
yes,
like
I saw that. They were like, love the finger. And I was like, well, I mean, at least people like it.
They thought it was funny.
They thought it was funny.
But it's like real. Here we are. We're on this date. I'm trying to capture like this is what we're doing.
Right.
And she's like, seriously, like stop. That's how she talks.
I was about to ask if that's what she sounds like.
Yes. No.
But I mean, it's good to like show real and raw moments. Like not everything is so serious, and like I think that's the message that sometimes is good to convey.
Yeah, and not everything needs to be highly produced. Some of that just basic raw content is more valuable.
About not being so serious, like we're literally like that all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's not what we've been capturing, and so people don't know that.
Right, because people see, like, in that instance, like, they see you and Jacqueline on stage at Connect, and, like, very poised and polished, and you go up there, and, like, you're in front of our community, and, like, it's very professional. And, like, yes, that is part of your life, but that's not how you are all the time.
But 99% of the time, we're knuckleheads. Like, just constantly, Yeah,
but that's the stuff people want to see.
I know. I don't know why. It's like a train wreck, but that's what they want to see. That's what I'm learning as I'm on TikTok. I'm like, this is a train wreck. I just want to watch.
Right.
And we're a little bit of that too. So I think it's important though, to tie this all together. Like, you're a business owner. You gotta document what you're doing on a daily basis so people can see and connect and go, that's relatable. I can relate to that person in that business.
And you honestly don't have to take too much time. You know, it's like 10 minutes a day to post one thing, and you can share it in multiple ways. Like that, it's going to help with the presence, like your presence and your visibility.
It's good.
So today we're talking funniest summertime memories. So mine, I was on a family reunion vacation in North Carolina, and I was pretty young. I think I was like 11 maybe, and so it was like a big group of us. Like, we had rented this large house, and like it was the coolest place ever. It had an elevator, and I was like in heaven.
Oh yeah, for a kid that's amazing.
And so you could walk like across this bridge and go to the beach. So like my whole family, it was probably like 20 of us, we walk over across the bridge to the beach, and we're like lining up to take a family photo. And so we are all just like waiting for this picture to happen.
There's so many places I feel like this story's
I know.
gonna end up,
and all of a sudden, like, one of my great aunts, she like starts screaming because she fell out of her chair and fell on my little 3-year-old sister and like thought she broke her.
Oh my
And it was like
gosh.
the funniest moment ever, because like we're trying to like, it's hard to coordinate that many people, and you're like trying to get everybody over there to take this picture, and like
she just crushed a 3-year-old.
Yep, everybody was fine, but it was so
Tragic.
funny.
Otherwise, this would not be a funny story.
Especially as a kid, you're like, oh my gosh, like.
So do you ever take family photos again on vacation?
In small groups.
Yeah.
No.
Small groups.
In small groups.
I don't know. I can't think of any like
Oh, I have like tons.
Summertime
We're
memories.
constant, like fun stories. I went to the beach. We were in Hawaii, and there was a storm, and so like the surge of the waves were really high. And I grew up in Southern California. I've been to the beach many times. I'm like, all right, let's go. And so I'm with my brother-in-law, and we're out like boogie boarding and stuff. And there's these native guys that are there looking at us like, oh boy. But they were nice, and they're like, no, you need to stay over here on this side of the reef with us, and we'll tell you when to go and all that stuff. And so, I mean, we're talking like 12, 15-foot waves, which is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so they're like, all right, go. And we start kicking and swimming, and all of a sudden I'm at the top of this wave, and I see my brother-in-law like fall through the wave.
No.
I land on top of him, get thrashed around. I get up just as another wave's coming. I can see his face looking at me. I take another breath. I'm getting tossed. I mean, I got like beat up.
You could have died.
Well, maybe. But I stood up, barely had my shorts on, and I look up. My brother-in-law's there. He looks like he just got whooped. And the lifeguard's walking out towards us. And we're like, we're good. We're out. We're good.
We know.
We're good. And yeah,
Never again.
No. And there was like this whole family of Hawaiians that were sitting there just laughing at the two of us like, you
Like
idiots.
these, yeah.
So it was kind of like we were the joke, but it was
Yeah.
kind of fun.
You were
That's
somebody
wonderful.
else's funny
I
summertime
wish-
Yes.
memory.
I wish, this has been a long time ago. I wish, though, talk about TikTok or Instagram. That would have been
Oh, yeah.
viral.
That
You would
would
have
have
gone
been-
Oh,
viral.
yeah, that would have been great. But
Yes.
no, it's just a memory. So